Getting jacked has gotten me to feel so much more respected and confident day to day. Like, I remember people used to ask me, like, are you a girl or a boy? And like nowadays, it just feels so good. I can talk to people, I can talk to whoever I want. I make friends in the gym. I just feel so great throughout the day. Like looking at my physique, it just feels absolutely amazing. And I want you to experience the same thing for yourself. So here are the 5 things we're gonna do to get you the perfect transformation like I have, okay? So starting off obviously this is gonna be about the gym. So starting off is gonna be bulking, okay? Because you're definitely too small right now if you're watching this video. If you are too big, it's kind of more complicated, but let me get into bulking. So you essentially just need to be in a calorie surplus, which just means that you have more calories coming in than going out. So you can either do this by, look, so you have like in, right? So calories in minus calories out, right? Then equals your remainder, right? Your remainder. And so you just need to have more calories going in than going out. And so you can either do this by like adding like cardio, right? You can add in some cardio, or you can just eat more, right? So those are 2 ways to do it. Or like by reducing cardio, obviously you can do this in a ton of ways. But in my opinion, just eat more. And how you do that is basically 3 things, okay? You just need to have more meals, okay? So you need to have more meals. And so instead of, let's say, having just 3 meals per day, you go have like 4 or 5, okay? And the easiest way to do this is honestly just with a protein shake, okay? So you just have like, let's say, normally, let's say this is a day, right? This is like midday, whatever. Here's breakfast, here's dinner. And so instead of just having these 3, you just add in a little meal here, add in a little meal here. So this could be like a protein shake, then this could be, I don't know, just like some random like snack. But make sure it's not super snacky, like you're just like eating it like that. Make sure you genuinely like sit down to eat it type thing. Moving on then, whoops. Moving on, the second thing for bulking is liquid calories. I kind of mentioned that before. Liquid calories. You don't have to try too much here, bro. Just look at what has the most calories, okay? And just throw that in a shake and blend it up. Also get this, like usually, you have this blender, which is like this whole thing, and then it has this base, whatever, and then here's the blender, right? And then you have to close it, and whenever you want to make a shake or whatever, right, the ink is running out. So whenever you want to make a shake, you have to put everything in here and then mix it, and then you have to clean this whole big bucket, right? But the better one is this one that is just like it's like a handheld blender. Just search up handheld blender. It just has a little cable here. Then this part is separate, right? So this is like the motor part. Then you have the actual blender part, which is the small part here. Oh, what a nice drawing. And this part is what actually blends it. And then you just have to wash this, so it makes it way like frictionless, way more frictionless. That's the way to go about it. So liquid calories, and get yourself one of those handheld, right? Handheld blenders, it's called. Okay, moving on. After more meals, liquid calories, the other thing you want to be doing during a bulk is not wasting the bulk's potential. So what I mean by this is you don't want to eat a ton, yet not train hard, okay? So you need to have this like strong balance. Essentially, when you eat a ton, you're able to train harder. And so you just need to train harder, basically. Like, I obviously, yes, like you can periodize your training if you're at that level. If you're not periodizing your training, if you're pretty new to training, let's say like less than a year, then I would tell you, bro, literally just train like to failure on almost every set, okay? This is gonna sound wrong, okay? No one tells you to train to failure every set. But the reason I say this is because where you think failure is at probably is not failure, okay? And so if you train to failure on every set in your mind, it's gonna be different from actually training to failure on every set, okay? And so, yeah, so we have more meals, liquid calories, train to failure on every set. And also just eat whole foods, bro. Eat whole foods. eat whole foods. The reason for this is that if you're gonna bulk on like a dirty bulk, you're just gonna put on more fat, and there's no real reason to do it, because then especially for calisthenics, everything is gonna go down basically. And so eating whole foods, you just feel good throughout the day. You know, you don't have this like massive, like dopamine spike randomly. So you feel good throughout the day. You obviously get in like more nutrient type stuff. And yeah, I mean, eating whole foods is like a no-brainer. If you like aren't eating whole foods now, just next time you go to the supermarket, don't buy the snack stuff, just buy the regular stuff. The last thing I wanted to say was track your protein, right? If you don't track your calories, right? If you want to track your calories and you already have an app for that and it feels good, go ahead, perfect. But if not, just track your protein, okay? This is usually easier. You don't really have to work that hard, and you can just like kind of log it throughout the day, or just ask ChatGPT. If you eat the same thing every day, like we said here, right? If you eat the same thing, it doesn't really matter, because the protein is going to be basically the same on every meal. So track your protein, even if it's just for one day, like just for one day throughout the week, because if you eat everything similar, it doesn't matter, right? So just track your protein, make sure you're roughly hitting your goal. I would say like 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. So that's basically it. So we know that bulking is really important, because you need to get bigger, get more respected, people like you more. And so that's a no-brainer, right? Very easy. So first off, bulk. Okay, moving on then. Number 2 is gonna be your lifestyle, okay? What I mean by this is essentially what you do outside of the gym, okay? So this is essentially the 23 hours. Okay, you can call it that, because you usually only train for about an hour, right? So this is what I call the 23 hours. And you need to kind of like 80-20 this, because you can go really hard on like when you work out, what supplements you take, like very, very in depth, right? But the 80-20 of this, okay, is getting in your steps. So that'll be 10K steps. Wait, my watch is here. I removed it because I just have it in my pocket and it tracks it like that, because I'm wearing my Casio. But 10K steps, very good, very easy as well. Just go on the treadmill after your workout, go on a walk just like throughout the day. If you have a dog, this is honestly like pretty easy to hit. Should be able to hit this pretty easily. Just make sure you track it and try to get it. This ensures that your cardio stays up during your bulk, and you need to have your cardio looking good during your bulk, because especially as you gain weight, you don't want cardio to become a limiting factor in like big full body movements like squats, for example. So steps, very easy, no brainer, okay? After this is sleep. Sleep I can talk for like hours on, but the 80-20 of this, okay, once again, only going for 80-20 here, is wow, this is annoying. So anchoring your wake up time, right? So wake up time. Just make sure it's the same every day. Okay, very easy. Literally just set the alarm on your phone, set it to every day, okay? And this is honestly the easiest thing you can do for sleep. Maybe not the easiest, but the highest ROI, okay? After that is buying like sleep stuff. So what I would say is like an eye mask. Eye mask. Buy yourself some earplugs. They can be like the one-time use or like the multi-time use. Eye mask, earplugs, and then mouth tape. Like these will improve your sleep like just like that. Like you don't even have to do anything, honestly, it's so easy. The eye mask, you'll just use it. Earplugs, you can like, you'll get used to them like in about a week. And then mouth tape, you just put a little strip here and then it'll keep your mouth closed. You'll notice that your sleep is much better. The last thing I want to mention about sleep is your sleep consistency is super important, okay? What I mean by this is the time you wake up and go to bed is more important many times than how many hours of sleep you actually get. And so what I mean by this is 8 hours of random sleep, okay, 8 hours of random sleep is actually worse than 6 hours of consistent sleep. Okay, they actually tested this in a study. So just try to get, even if it's just 6 hours, try to get it really consistent, okay? If you want some more like sleep guides, there'll probably be like a link in the description. After that, for lifestyle, the other thing I personally love doing, because I think it adds so much to your workouts, it just feels so much better, is just being social, okay? Being social in the gym. Since most of you are going to be training in the gym anyways, we might as well make use of it, might as well train another skill while you're there, because you probably felt that whenever you're overthinking your sets, right? Whenever you're overthinking in between sets, you don't really get a good set. And so, trust me, bro. Just trust me on this one, okay? You need to be social at the gym, especially if you're going to a gym. You're missing out on your potential. So, social, okay? What this actually looks like is honestly just talk to everyone in the gym. Like say hello to someone. If you're on like absolutely level 0, maybe, you know, just like go approach someone, like say hello, like what time does the gym close today if you're like super nervous. If you're more like leveled up, go ahead and, you know, I don't know, just talk to people, bro. It's honestly so easy. I personally just like giving a compliment. It's like, yo bro, nice physique, what's your name? Whatever, you know, even if it's like a girl, even better. So yeah, just being social, bro. This adds so much to the gym. It makes me so much more excited, you know, when I know I can go to the gym and, you know, maybe find like some cool friend, you know, just talk to people. It just feels way, way better. And I don't know how to describe it until you've experienced it, okay? And so you can essentially like, look, you're going to the gym anyways now, right? So this is like, imagine you have your whole day here, okay? This is your, right? Imagine that's a clock, right? With your day. Wait, this is such a bad way. Okay, imagine you have like a day, right? A day like this, like that's the sun, right? And then you have, I don't know, let's say your workout block is here. Yeah? So imagine this is your day, yeah? So this is maybe like a, I don't know, 3-hour block. Let's say 3-hour block of training. And this is like, you know, commuting and everything. And so during this time, bro, you have so much time to use, but you're only using it on your workouts, right? So you're getting like, going to the gym, right? You can do so many different things. You're getting the stimulus part down pretty well, right? So imagine this is like your peak potential for how much, you can go to the gym and get this much out of it, right? This is probably like social skills. It can probably be like girls. It can probably be obviously like your workout, right? Your workout. Probably also learn some discipline from it too, right? And so if you're just going here, if you're going to the gym and you're only working out, you're only filling the tank to like about here, right? You're only getting that much of your potential. And so if you can get more, bro, so passively, might as well, you know? It's kind of like sleep where we talked about, like you just buy those sleep stuff once and your sleep is like instantly better. The next thing is having a good program. Now, the program side of things on social media has become kind of a mess. You don't really know what to do. So I don't want to overinflate you with even more info than you already have. So I'm going to keep it very simple, okay? First, figure out, are you training for strength or are you training for hypertrophy, right? Like, which is your main goal? Think about why. Like for me, for example, it's strength. And I feel like I can also build like, I don't know, like maybe 90% of the muscle that I'm gonna build anyways, maybe even closer to like 95%, right? So for me, that's like a trade-off that I'm willing to take for a bit more strength. I don't know, I enjoy like strength training a little bit more. Hitting PRs is pretty fun to me. And I also really like that with weighted calisthenics specifically, I have very good like transferability, right? Transferability to other skills. Whatever. Yeah, like the transfer is so good from like weighted calisthenics to other stuff. So I really like that. If you personally like hypertrophy, go ahead and choose that. I'm not going to force you to choose whatever, but that's just my choice, right? And so how you go about this is essentially just figure out, okay, strength hypertrophy, okay? For both of these, you just need to figure out how many days per week you want to train. So usually like I would say the peak is about like 4 to 5 times per week. That's where, you kind of get like most of your gains, you know? And then it's like if you start training more, you don't really get much more. And so I would say train about 4 to 5 times per week. For hypertrophy, how you'd go about this, I would say for most people, something like upper lower is very good. So you do upper lower, and then weakness, right? Because a lot of people have weaknesses. Even for strength, honestly, you can have like a weakness day. This is really important, actually. And so I would go about it like upper lower, weakness. Very easy. Like you can even have like this upper day a bit more focused on, let's say, back. Like maybe this is like upper 1. Let's say that's upper 1, and then this is upper 2, right? So you can just go about it like that. Here, let's say on upper 1, you start off with chest. Here on upper 2, you start off with back, you know? And just so you keep them pretty balanced. Then for strength, honestly, training a bit more for strength can be pretty viable, because the thing is, in strength, like more is more. If you can get in like more volume, it can be super beneficial. And so, honestly, like the peak for strength is obviously going to be something like 5 to 6 times per week. But that means you also have to have your diet, your sleep, everything absolutely dialed in, because if you don't, your central nervous system is going to get cooked. Okay, so what do we do instead? Okay, I would say just 4 to 5 times per week once again, but the way you approach it is a little bit different. If you see here, how many times, let's say, for this, we're training 5 times per week, yeah? How many times do we get to hit, let's say, squats here? 2 times. Okay, that's fine because it's squats. Let's say, how many times do we get to hit dips? Dips is only 2 times per week. And since we have to hit so many other things, dips are probably only going to have like maybe 6 sets, right? 6 sets in this 1 week of training, okay? So here, this would be pretty bad because then you'd also have like 6 sets of pull-ups, right? And so this is like pretty low sets. We don't want this little for strength, okay? So what we're gonna do instead for strength is we're gonna just pick the movements, right? It's gonna be based on the movements. And so you just wanna choose whatever movements you like. Let's say that's like, for you, that's dips. Maybe you like, I don't know, like incline dumbbell. I don't know, whatever. Maybe you like incline dumbbell. Maybe you like pull-ups. And maybe you like, I don't know, let's say like barbell rows. So let's say you like these movements. How you go about it is you have this, like, let's say 5 times per week training, right? So let's say we just do it like that real quick. Oh yeah, okay. And so yeah, you just have this like 5 times per week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. And so you just go about it like this. You just put, let's say, like dips here, dips with some pull-ups. Then you do like rows, let's say. And then you put, let's say, incline dumbbell. Then you have, wait, this is so cooked. Let's say here we have dips after pull-ups. Oh, we forgot to train legs, but it's fine. It's just an example. And then, yeah, so you get the drift, right? So you just put these like that. And essentially each exercise you do should sort of like benefit that movement. So let's say if here we take this example of dips and pull-ups. You want to do, like, obviously start off with like dips first, right? So start off with your dips. Then maybe do like a weakness for dips. So let's say, you're weak at, let's say, the bottom part of the dip. You just spend more time there, right? Maybe you do a bottom pause dip, right? So pretty easy, just spend more time in your weakness, yeah? After that, one more dip thing. Let's say, you just want to, let's say you want it to benefit dips, but you also just want your upper chest to look good. Maybe you add in some like incline dumbbell work, right? Even though that's tomorrow as well, right? You just add in some incline dumbbell. So then you got pull-ups. You just go ahead, do your pull-ups as normal. If you really want to, maybe you do some other thing. Maybe you do like a weakness for pull-ups. Maybe if you feel like it, you just do some like rows, right? So figure out this program, set it up how you're going to do it. For strength, obviously, you need to be a little bit more careful with what exercises you're choosing. But in general, the idea behind this is the frequency, right? How many times per week you actually train each muscle, right? So for strength here, in this case, you want to train each muscle, each movement, right? Like up to 3 times per week. And obviously that'll be, so this will mean that 3 times per week, which would mean like maybe, depends on what phase you're in, right? But it could mean 10 to 20 sets, okay? Versus when we look at upper lower here, that was only 6 sets, okay? So that's the main difference for strength versus hypertrophy. Pick which one you want. And then it's very easy if you're doing it for hypertrophy. You just choose your split, choose whatever you like. Make sure you hit each muscle 2 times per week. Maybe even focus on some weaknesses if you do have them. For strength, once again, like a little bit more complicated. Figure out which actual exercises you like, okay? Then you list them into the days of the week that you train. And then figure out how you're gonna kind of like list them out here. Make sure you follow the same routine, obviously. Track your progress on top of that. And yeah, let me get into tracking progress as well, because that's really important. And so for tracking progress, we're still going to be on program here. For tracking progress, the reason we want to do this is because if you aren't tracking your progress, you don't know how fast you're actually going. The easiest way to do this, I honestly just do it all on my notes app. I don't have an app or anything because it's kind of weird for weighted calisthenics. So I don't know, I just have on my notes app and then like bullet points, whatever. And then here I'll write like pull. And then here will be like push, whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, I'll just have the exercise listed there and how many reps and sets and weight I'm doing for them. This is like a really easy way to do it. On top of that, record your sets to make sure that you don't have any big deviation in terms of your form. Okay, so you've just been bombarded with advice on bulk, lifestyle, and program. Okay, you don't know what's going on. Hopefully you took some notes. So number 4, we need to actually stick to this. Okay, so this is the consistency kind of things. I like to call it like your fire, right? Because you kind of need to keep your fire burning. And so you need to see because there's obviously like different ways to motivate yourself. If you do have something that happened to you, like you got bullied or whatever, you can use that as motivation. Like that's very good in the beginning. Like dark energy for your motivation. Because just like kind of anything else in life, kind of like business, if you are into business, you'll know Alex Hormozy, I think, has this quote where he says, you can't fail if you don't quit, right? And so this is like really important because if you keep working out and you just don't quit, you're going to win at the end of the day, And so you need to figure out how to keep it sustainable, right? How to keep it moving. Starting off, like if you, never mind this dark energy. If you do have an obsession, okay, an obsession for working out right now, absolutely use it, okay? If you feel like obsessed and watching like YouTube videos on this every day, tracking your progress, researching what is this the best, is it the best? Just go ahead and let that obsession happen, okay? Because you essentially have free motivation with this, okay? You have just like free motivation, okay? And you don't have to spend any mental energy, to get yourself researching about it. So if you do have obsession, go ahead and use it. Don't tank it down. Don't tell yourself, oh, I need to be balanced now. If you go for a late night workout, if you work out 2 times per day, 3 times per day, let it happen, bro, okay? So obsession is the first thing. If you are obsessed right now, let it happen, okay? After that, if you're already out of this kind of obsession period, okay, use dark energy, okay? This is very good. This is kind of like a push motivation, if that makes sense. So you have push and pull motivation, which essentially means push motivation is oh, I want to go away from here. And pull motivation means I want to, I'm getting pulled toward this direction, okay? So that's essentially the difference. Using dark energy is very good for the beginning because push energy is way more, how can I say this? You have way more of a reason to change, if that makes sense, okay? So using dark energy, stuff someone who passed away, bro, some friends who bullied you or something like that, you use that, you just think about it. I don't know how to tell you mentality this deep, bro, but just go ahead and use dark energy, okay? And then for keeping yourself accountable, obviously the other thing you can do is just getting a friend who works out too. A friend who works out. maybe setting up some like contracts with them, you know, like putting like money on the line. Like I've done this with friends where it's like we both put down like $200, you know, and if we don't go to the gym, let's say this week, we have to pay the other person $200. And it's, bro, it's such easy motivation. Okay. So these are the things, bro, for keeping your fire. Just stay, if you're obsessed right now, stay obsessed. Okay. Don't try to balance it out. For dark energy, you go ahead and use that. And then if you have like a friend to work out with, that's also very good. And the last thing is going to be, the last thing is going to be your, how can I call this? It's like, just sticking to it, bro. Okay. So like, and the last thing is distractions. Yeah, I know I spelled that wrong, but it's fine. So distractions. This can obviously be anything, right? Like you can get distracted in hundreds of different ways, but the biggest ones I see are program hopping. So this is essentially like shiny object syndrome, where you think like, oh wow, this is so good and it's gonna get me these gains and whatever. So that's essentially, you know, you see some other program and you feel like it's gonna be better, okay? So that's what happens, like program hopping, and then you know you like switch up all the exercises, switch up the routine, stop tracking your progress, you know. So you kind of like reset your progress, like in a sense. Like let's say, you know, you're moving at whatever pace you're moving now, right? Sometimes better, sometimes worse. You get on a new program and you kind of like start here once again until it picks up. So you need to have this like pickup sort of phase. So if you're constantly switching programs, you're just gonna be in this straight line, which you obviously don't want to be at. So obviously just don't program hop. But how you actually stop that from happening, okay, is by quitting social media. Before you click off this video, because I just told you to quit social media, what I mean by this is mainly for short form, right? Like long form, like this isn't that bad, especially if it's like unfiltered, like I'm literally just talking to you here. And so quitting social media is mainly stuff like Instagram, you know, like whatever short form. I have this app. Oh no, my phone is recording. So I have this app called, I think it's called Firstagram. Wait. It's called Firstagram, and that's only on Android, but you don't get any scroll or anything. Firstagram. So you don't get any scroll, you basically just get all of Instagram's features, but the scroll and everything is just blocked. So for Instagram, this is a really good one to download. Also get Unhook. This is for YouTube. This is so that, you know, you just don't like scroll. There's like no home page or whatever. This is really good. It's just an extension. So what I would say to do with this is to essentially on your phone, delete the YouTube app and just use the browser, okay? And then also have Unhook on your phone, okay? Then for Instagram, use Firstagram if you're on Android, okay? Just search that up. It's on like GitHub. You can just download it. If you're not on Android, what you can do is download, I think it's called Screen Zen. Screen Zen is like this app where you like, it just makes it like harder to like open the app and everything. It gives you like a certain amount of times you can open it. Screen Zen is also very good. But essentially you need to kind of like switch your mentality around this, right? You need to switch your mentality around like, what are you getting from social media, okay? Because if you are at the stage right now where you feel like, oh, I get so much from social media, I feel like, yeah, I mean, you know, watching these like creators about working out, it's so motivating and passionate. I'm not gonna try to convince you otherwise, okay? This is for people who know that social media is affecting their life negatively. And I can guarantee it's probably affecting your life negatively too, but you don't see it, okay? But if you do see that it's affecting your life negatively and you just want to reduce it, or I mean, quit it, this is how you're gonna go about it, okay? So, essentially, just you need to reframe your mind that you're not getting anything out of it, right? And if you can get into like a dopamine detox type phase where you just cut off all social media, it's gonna be like from now, you're gonna say that, oh, I'm only gonna do this for a couple of days, but you're gonna see once your dopamine actually like neutralizes, right? Because this is, imagine your dopamine right now is like this, right? And so your baseline, even though it's supposed to be like here normally, right? It's now lower, okay? Because you have so many of these peaks. And what that does is it brings your baseline even lower. So when you don't do any of these like dopaminergic activities, you end up on this lower baseline, okay? Instead of being on your normal baseline. And so you obviously feel worse. And so that's why quitting social media is really important. It makes the gym more fun. It makes socializing more fun. It makes all of these more fun that I just talked about here. It makes it way more fun and way easier to do, okay? And so this is like, honestly, the 80-20. If you can take one thing from this video, it would be quitting social media, okay? So yeah, go ahead and delete the apps, download Firstagram if you can, unhook on all your browsers, and don't use the app on your phone, just use the extension on the browser. Download ScreenZen if you're on iOS. And for distractions, okay, some other distractions except social media, okay, are obviously like people. You can have like people distractions. Whoa. People, right? So this can be someone who's like nagging you in your life. This can be someone who's like, this can be like a girl. This can be, this can be so many things, right? But you need to kind of like lock in on the people who you spend time with. If you're in a work period, if you're in a workout period, right? If you're in a gym type period, fitness, you want to surround yourself with people who are also doing fitness, right? In this time. So either find people in the gym, maybe on like school.com, right? Like my platform is on there. Yeah, join my platform. But yeah, so people, literally just surround yourself with good people, right? Surround yourself with like fitness people. Maybe like go out with them, maybe like hit workouts with other people. Okay, so stay locked in on that. But also don't do the opposite, right? If you're right now in a workout period, fitness period, don't spend time with people who are partying, okay? So don't do that as well. As a distraction, it's very easy to get distracted by like, I think girls is the biggest one. It's like an insanely easy way to get distracted. So I would say if you want to have like a certain period where you just try out, just you, it sounds very lonely, right? But like not trying to get into any relationships, right? Just still being social, like we said in the lifestyle, right? Still being very social, talking to people, still improving that skill. But at the same time, don't let it like logically impact you, right? You don't want to be wasting your brain points. I'm not sure if you've heard of this analogy, but let's say you start off the day with, this is like a tank, right? A tank of brain points. Okay, you start off the day with 200. Okay, let's say 200. And then every little thing you do, you use some brain points, okay? So be this, let's say you wake up, you check your phone, that's like minus 10 brain points, okay? Then let's say you go to the gym, that's like minus 70 brain points. Then maybe you do some like deep work, right? Maybe that'll be like 40 brain points. Maybe you like study a bit. So all of these things take like a few amount of brain points, and eventually, you use all of these brain points from the day, okay? But something like other people can be so distracting, right? This is like a passive like -5 every hour, right? Which makes it so much harder to focus, so much harder to do whatever, because you have this like trailing -5 every hour. Okay, so honestly, just try to reduce these people if you can. If you know that they're gonna be distracting, try to cut them out just respectfully. Don't like go out and like, do something like weird, crazy. Just cut them out respectfully, or even cut them out like ignoringly if you don't feel like, genuinely like telling them. But yeah, distractions are a big one. Make sure you don't get distracted by program hopping. Obviously quit social media. Very easy way to stop program hopping. Keep people around you who are focused on the same thing as you right now. So that's probably going to be the gym. And yeah, bro, lock in. Have an absolutely amazing day, bro. Let's get it.